Hey guys, Cedric here with another roleplay forum review, and today I am reviewing Felth's Heart, which is an alien world set after a great calamity has destroyed Earth, which I am always here for calamities that destroy Earth, um, and all that sort of stuff. Not so much aliens, but hey, let's see what we've got. So the first thing is that the visual presence of this site is intense in a good way, in a really good way. Um, all of this design is just, it's so unique, and at first I was a little bit not put off, but definitely unsure about the bright greens, but aliens. What other colour do you think of when you think of aliens? But yeah, it's all really, really cool to look at. It certainly makes me want to have a bit of a bigger look and see what's going on. Um, One thing that sort of doesn't seem quite in line with the design aesthetic that you've got going on is this sudden paragraph of text here. I would look at maybe giving that some spacing around it. I'm not even sure exactly what you do with it, except that it's very cluttered into one space where the rest of your design is so beautifully laid out. Um, yeah, there's something that you could do here. I really don't know exactly what. But yeah, something to just make that a little less like a sudden smack of text in the face. One thing that I don't like, and this is something that I don't like in general, is the change of the cursor. It's cool, and it certainly fits in with the theme, but I hate not knowing exactly what I'm clicking on, because I can never tell whether the cursor is in the center of that or if it's the point of that, or I hate any changes to the cursors. I don't like the change to the crosshair cursor either. It just annoys me. That's a very personal thing. Some people love it. It's not my thing. I'm not sure what these are about, and I'm not sure if the question marks make me want to find out more or if it just looks unfinished, but this is pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be able to click them, but I keep trying, so that's sort of a thing. Um, and I want to click that too, but I am I supposed to be able to click that? I have no idea. So it's a little confusing on the user experience side of things there, but overall it's very impressive to look at. It's just, there's so much going on there. And then as we scroll down, I understand that you're still in the process of building the site. So all of this sort of stuff, where you've got your menus and stuff not quite built. I won't comment on those yet because they're clearly not finished. But yeah, the general categories that you've got there are quite useful. And this along here, so that's your home page, user, messages. It's going to go to a help page, and your search. Okay. Oh, so you need to. Okay. So the actual box itself isn't linked. I would look at changing that. What you've got the link on there is the actual text, so it's only a link once those arrows appear. I would look at making the entire div the actual link. That way it's a little bit clearer. When I first clicked this, I was clicking here because the outline pops up, and I was like, why isn't this going anywhere? What's going on here? But yeah, once it's properly selected, and that's sort of, yeah, that's a little bit confusing to me. But it's not hard to fix. So we're, instead of having your A tags, your link tags around the text, have them around the entire div, and yeah, you'll be sweet. Okay, and yeah, same for things like that, because with the outline highlight, it's a little bit confusing. Okay, so you've got a little new thing there. Welcome to there. I mean, it's all very nicely laid out. I would probably add some padding to there, so padding left. So just to bring that in off that line there, I always start with, see, 10 pixels is fine there. Just to bring it a little bit in and off that yellow line so it doesn't run straight into it. And even in that div, your box mid div, what have you got? You got margins, padding left, padding right. I would even bump that up to 10. Nope, not that one. Don't want to do that one. Not box mid then. Where's your... Okay. Oh no, it is your padding left. And padding right. I always find that 10 pixels is sort of a good level of padding to have. Just makes a nice sort of even space around the element. Just enough for your brain to sort of get around it. And another one to consider is line height, 160%. That just spaces it out a little bit, gives you a bit more room around the words to really understand what they're saying. You'll possibly even bump that text up a little bit. Maybe not. But yeah, there's some things to think about. They're really, really picky things, and the sort of things that I'll be picking up on through this entire review, they're not going to be things that you're necessarily going to agree with, and they're not going to be things that you necessarily should incorporate either. They're just things, it's my opinion, and it's my sort of, it's more about what I would do as opposed to what you should absolutely do. I can only comment on how I would run a roleplay and what I find most effective. If you don't like it, if it doesn't suit what you want to do, completely ignore me. There is nothing wrong with that either. But let's continue. When I first looked down here, I was very confused. Like really confused, because I've never seen a forum layout like this before. At first I was scared, and I think you're going to find a lot of that. You're going to find a lot of people that aren't sure what to do on the basis of this looks different. And normally I'm not one of those people, but hey, it turns out I'm just as bad as everyone else. But it fits so nicely into this whole space. It's hard not to love it. So the only thing is that it could be a bit hard for people to sort of find where they're at. So you might want to separate it out a little bit in terms of sections for out of character stuff, sections for in character stuff, and whatever else is sort of there. I'm not sure what these hoverovers are supposed to be, but if you've got overflow there as well that's happening. If it's not supposed to be happening, you'll need to resolve that. But it is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And again, you've got those hovers that are only on the link, because yeah, once I go outside of that text, it's no longer linked, which is a little bit inconvenient, and again, as I said before, quite confusing in places. So yeah, and then you've got your stats and all of your other associated stuff, and this beautiful little bottom bit as well. No one does this enough. They don't tie off their forums like this. You do have a bit of a obvious edge here that is a bit of a shame because it so nicely goes over the rest of it. So I'd probably chuck that into Photoshop and fade that out a little bit, unless it is being chopped off there. Let's have a look. Come on. So that's the border foot. Sometimes I get lost. The snowflakes are getting in the way. Yeah, why can't I select that image? Because yeah, I feel like there's a bit of I don't know. Oh, there we go. No, that's I can't work it out. So yeah, basically, if you could fade that off a little bit, it would it would make a difference. It wouldn't make a big difference, but for people who are stupid and picky like me, it would it's not a deal breaker. It's really not. It's just one of those little picky things that silly people like me pick up on. So that's sort of my first impressions of the site. There is a lot of work here. Like there is an insane amount of work here. It's it's really impressive. I've not seen anything quite like this before, and I'm really excited by it actually. So yeah, that's sort of your appearance and layout sort of thing. I don't see anything too problematic in terms of your colors and your other aesthetics. I would probably look at ditching the font. What are we using? I reckon you'd be better off, instead of Palatino, going with something that is a sans serif. So more similar to Arial. There are some really nice ones. Keep your all caps stuff in a serif font. That always looks effective. But when it comes to the lowercase stuff, and especially stuff that's quite squished in, and going back up here, even this box here could be quite... It could look quite effective, even just in a sans serif font, as down here. It gives it a slightly cleaner look, and I think for a post-apocalyptic, especially alien-based site, you really want to try and get that contrast of the serif and the sans serif fonts. I do find these can be quite difficult to read when they're in block text. So that's, something to think about. Alrighty, so our next mission is to try and get through your documentation. So, okay, I'm a little bit scared here. So we go to Game Guide. Alright, that makes the most sense. Okay, so this is... Alright, this isn't finished yet, but this is an interesting way of doing it. That could be cool. Again, I would look at giving a bit of space around this text and just making sure that it's very clear to read, that it doesn't present as one gigantic block, because that will turn people away no matter how you do it. So that's the game guide. Information center. See, that's the other thing, is I keep trying to click up here to get into the forums. Alrighty, rules and core knowledge. Come on. This is my other problem with the cursor. I just don't know what I'm clicking. Hello? Oh, right. That's information about the board. Okay. Now I feel dumb. Yeah. One other thing I would suggest is when you are writing rules, try and avoid saying no, no, no. Um, it can come off as overly negative. And then, especially followed by things like if you wish to be silly and immature, it's almost like you're accusing people of that behavior before they've even sort of got to that point. Like you need to lecture them before they can take part. So rather than doing those sorts of things, being like, do highlight the positive behaviors that you want to see rather than condemning the bad ones, if that makes sense. Um, yeah. Ooh, that moves. Cool. Is your currency called fucks? Because I've just got a whole new level of respect for you now. And look, you have no fucks to give. I think that's the first time I've proper giggled on one of these. That's amazing. Um, your information table here is pretty cool, and I'm sure when it's finished it will be amazing. Um, I don't know that there's much more I can really review here until it's done because you've got it mostly laid out, but there's not a lot else to look at in terms of documentation. I can really only sort of assess the general design, which is pretty much what you wanted anyway. Um, yeah, it might be a little bit difficult for people to find their way through initially, but things like your quick navigation are going to help a lot. And yeah, this is just, I can't get over how beautifully these fit in with each other. I've never seen anything quite like this. I'm just, yeah, not sure what these hover overs are on these ones here. But yeah, it's a beautiful site. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really interested to see where it goes from here. Um, yeah, I wish I could say more. I would love to delve deeper into it, but I don't think there's anything really there for me to go further into. If you got any questions, let me know. But yeah, otherwise, congratulations on a visually stunning site. And yeah, good luck with the rest of the development.